I welcome you to my another video review. I have truly tested this extraordinary tablet with a huge potential regarding multimedia graphical usage, may it be film play, video play or some presentation/meeting. Moreover, it is considered high-end when it comes to the hardware, which is mostly unseen with rugged tablets. And I like it. I mean, for a change. Second highest series of MediaTek Dimensity processors, 50 megapixel camera, 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is an overkill. Another overkill, 21 amp-hour battery. Well, it also has a projector, so the battery is not an overkill. There is also IR blaster for controlling of your TV. There is 1000 lumen torch. There is accurate barometer. Then there is red and blue blinking, which I think is pretty useless. And there is also active cooling with a fan. Yet the tablet is still completely waterproof. This is something different. And I would like to share with you my experience and my testing data. This table with data is available for download for free in the video description. My experience with tablets, with projectors and with tablets that have projectors is quite something. I very often project some films on the go or on our cottage, and a portable projector is a must-have for this. So I have quite a few projectors. Yeah, Jude, thanks for coming. It's been a long time since we have met. It's been at school.
Yeah, a long time no see.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Well, since then, many things have changed. For example, I have this tablet. Look at this. A new tablet.
Wow, that's amazing. Actually, I also have a new tablet.
You also have a new tablet, yeah. It's also made of aluminum. Oh, this is Dell. Okay, USB-C. There is no jack. Wait. It has no projector.
Well, you're right. Without a projector, it's not a tablet.
Of course, a tablet must have a projector, otherwise it's not a tablet.
Yeah.
What do you then use for projecting some movies, some films, some pictures?
Actually, for that, I have this.
Oh, you have a regular projector. Yeah. Okay. But, well, you carry two devices, and one of them has this tail, well, that goes to the mains. It needs the mains to be powered to operate.
Yeah, of course.
So if I disconnect this, you cannot take it, you can't take it outside in the camping, for example, and such.
That's right, but what if I disconnect your power?
If you disconnect my power, then look at this. The projector keeps on projecting. And even if I disconnect this, and I can actually close this one, and now it's waterproof, it's rainproof, dustproof, everything proof, and it still keeps projecting some image. That's the 8849 tablet.
That's amazing. It's interesting how technology progresses.
Yeah, and even more, because back then, in the old ages of old tablets, projectors, of old tablets with projectors, if you were going, for example, in the woods, in the forest, in the darkness, and you had no light, you would have to project white picture, a white rectangle or something like that. But now, you don't have to project a white picture. You can use this 1000 lumen flashlight.
What?
In a tablet.
How can you use this?
Like that. Just turn it on and go. That's it. And you are projecting, you are lighting, and you can as well control your TV via this remote.
All at the same time? That's much better than Apple.
Of course, it's much better than Apple because it also has 3.5mm jack. A tablet must have a projector, otherwise it's not a tablet. This sentence was often used by my friends from high school and later university because we were at the same floor in university dorms and often conducted some film evenings. Back then I had this Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro and it ran almost every evening, mostly Stargates. The tablet with DLP projector has run for thousands of hours, but it is not made anymore. Not produced, and even if Lenovo would be producing some successor, I wouldn't recommend them, as this was my first and last deal with Lenovo and their device breaking software. So now there is a hole in market. So naturally 8849 Unihertz came up. They took their DLP projector module from their phones and made it into a tablet. It's now the only tablet with a projector in production, and one of only 3 types ever made. Lenovo Yoga Tab 2 Pro, Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro, and 8849 Tank Pad. The only 3 projector tablets in existence. Quite an empty field, isn't it? Just 3 devices. Well, it is unfortunate that I am also not a good video editor, just a basic one, so please imagine the tumbleweed going by, as I can't do that in Vegas 21 Pro, as I already have a hard time dealing with irrational pan and crop function in Vegas 21. I must admit that I really got used to having a tablet with a projector. I mean, tablets, they are multimedia devices themselves by design, so if you have a perfect device for film and videos watching, why not implement a projector in it to get a much greater screen size, up to 3.5 meters in this case, diagonal. But in household conditions that would be maximum like 2 meters, because the size of your room really limits your screen size. Now about cooperation with the company 8849, which is quite interesting. Now, where is the tablet? It's gone. No, I am using it as a secondary camera, so switching from my Xperia to 8849 in 3, 2, 1, now! Here you are! Now I don't need this lapel microphone, but I'm still gonna keep it in case of something happens with the sound. Now about my cooperation with 8849. My reading device is there and my camera has shifted in there, so I apologize for not having an eye contact. This is recorded in 4K 30 FPS. Now to the topic. This cooperation with 8849 is based on a fraud. I got an email from a hacker who wanted his fake email to look like it comes from 8849, which it didn't. We YouTubers, we often get many of these fake emails when they claim to be someone else of a reputable company, and then they send you a virus in screensaver file .scr or a fake PDF file which is .pdf, .exe or anything else. So naturally, I contacted 8849, the real one, and forwarded them this fraudulent email and told them that they could like to share a post with a warning before these frauds. So we had some short chat with 8849, and meanwhile I have gone through some reviews, either user reviews and also YouTube reviews. I figured out that they are really trying to be different while maintaining usability and user-friendly approach, like SD cards, like 3.5mm jack, and such. What was definitely decisive for me was this YouTube channel where this good guy takes devices apart, which is great because you see what it looks like inside and how easy is it to fix. Great channel. So I reached back to 8849 and offered them a cooperation for which they answered yes. We are going to have some prototype of newest Projector tablet and you can review it. So this is a great example how even some wrongdoings may be bent to serve some good purpose. You can sometimes make good from bad. Well, apart from French cars. But anyways, this is our cooperation and it is open. That means they have sent me the device for review for free. The device, you don't see it because I am just recording on it, but they sent it in this package. And I must record a video review, namely on my main channel, which has significantly more subs, 35,000. But also, I decided that this device is so unique and only one of its kind that I also am recording this English review on my secondary English channel too. And believe me, creating additional English video takes plus 5 days at average to me. I am not forced by 8849 and or Unihertz to say something, to not say something, or to do or to not to do something. My hands are completely free when reviewing this tablet. Well, don't mind this mouse, Logitech MX Master 3S, I'm scrolling on my reading device. The roomy 11-inch display, almost 11-inch, is a classic IPS, so good saturated colors, worse dim colors, good response time and good refresh rate, which actually can be set to maximum of 120 FPS, which is here, refresh rate, So it's 60, 90, 120 and auto select based on app. What could be also here would be some smarter refresh rate. For example, the tablet will be running at 60, but when you touch it, the refresh rate would go higher to 120, for example. So 60, 120, 60, 120. That will be even greater, I believe, as it would conserve battery power more and be more responsive, but actually the 60 is still great. 120, I can't even see the difference, to be honest. The backlight is actually more than enough powerful, providing maximum 780 lux at the glass, which is above average for IPS displays, and this enables the tablet to also support 10-bit HDR color range. It can be read on direct sunlight without any major problems. The resolution is Full HD, but at 16:10 aspect ratio, so it is 1920 by 1200. This aspect ratio is quite normal amongst even some monitors, and this particular resolution is quite standard, so you are gonna have easy time finding some wallpapers for this. What can also be tested is the saturated colors. From comparing this tablet with other displays, it's shown most colors very nicely, but red was weaker. And it truly is. I have performed some measurements with my spectrometer and used free tool on Kawamoto to calculate the coverage of sRGB color gamut, which is a standard color space that most devices run in. It's very similar to BT709. The red is visibly weaker, but the other colors are good. I actually have the theory that it may have some connection with the powerful backlight. Maybe they use some cooler white LEDs for backlight for slightly higher luminous output, but cooler white LEDs lack the red spectrum in them. So this may be the reason behind the worse red color here. And now to the elephant in the room, the major advantage of the tablet, which is the projector. It can be turned on or off with widget. Let's see, it's turning on with this widget, here in the notifications/status bar, or in the settings in the projector menu. The DMD chip in this DLP projector has native resolution of 854 times 480, so it's 480p in wide aspect ratio of 16.9. When you turn on the projector, the integrated display also switches to this aspect ratio, restarting the Android UI. That's why I actually have turned off the locking of the tablet, because when you restart the system UI, the tablet locks. So when you turn on the projector, it locks itself and you have to unlock it once more. So you can now see that the display is not used here and here. We have some bars here of unused display. So the entire tablet switches to 16:9. The brightness and battery life is where this tablet really holds the position, as there is just a few battery-powered projectors on the market, and they usually last like one film, maybe two, and they usually use the cheapest 18650s there, or even worse, some use pouch lithium polymer cells. For example, this projector, if I find a picture of it, is meant to run from a power bank. It can run from 5 volts, but it prefers 12 volts. The brightness is approximately 30 to 40 lumens, I would guess, and the resolution is just like an old Nokia. The 8849 tablet has claimed 100 ANSI lumens, which is the true luminous output that you should get on your white projector screen, or a wall, or a ceiling, or a truck trailer, just anything that is at least bright enough. I have used my cheap spectrometer, and man, these aren't cheap at all, so there may be some errors. But I have measured according to ANSI standard and got 77.5 ANSI lumens. If this value is true, then it means the projector doesn't exaggerate that much, just a little, which is normal amongst projectors. They usually exaggerate. And what wouldn't be fine would be if it would claim like 2000 lumens and have just 100. Yeah, that wouldn't be fine. But 77.5% of claimed luminous output, that is somehow normal in the projector field, even considering the error of my measurement, of course. The brightness of the projected image is very homogeneous with slight decrease at the top, so just tilt the tablet a little bit down and you are completely fine. But you wouldn't even notice that. The keystone correction, well, is here. It's automatic, but it doesn't work well in this case. I suppose that is just a problem of this pre-production prototype, as it has different board, seems like. The final product may have this fully working. In here is just a small percentage, like few degrees maximum, and that's all. But in the production model it may be actually solved. What matters is the colors, and man, they are awesome. Generally speaking, all DLP projectors have beautiful colors, and this one does too. I have measured 98% sRGB coverage and 128% sRGB ratio, which means the colors, well, apart from blue, are going to be richer than what they were meant to be when the video you are about to watch was rendered or recorded or anything. Richer colors compared to reality, I would say. So it is definitely has much nicer colors than most TVs, for example. Now, my experience with this projector, it is quite rich, and I actually wanted to try it under several occasions prior to making this review. So this, for example, enables you to project on your ceiling. You just place it like that and project on your ceiling, which is perfect. You just lay down on your bed, there is no load on your spine, and you just keep staring forward, up. When a complete night came, I had to go to the settings to decrease the projector brightness a little, not to blind me that much, and it would provide a 2-meter diagonal picture. Then I have used this tablet to demonstrate some topics we were talking about. I didn't want to take photos of some confidential info, but this photo of calendar, which is of course censored when we were discussing some dates for our meeting, and I can show you this photo. So this tablet may as well be used as a presentation device. You don't even need complete darkness, just some little darker room, maybe window blinders or so, and you are free to show anything with this tablet on your ceiling or on the wall if it is bright white. It's also slightly more convenient to play some films. We have, for example, this cottage in the mountains, and we got a 9 by 9 meter room in there. When we wanted some high quality films, or there was many of us wanting to see the film, we would start up the PC and play it with MacCubic projector. But if like 2 or 3 people wanted a quick film, we would then just play it off the tablet, as it is much faster than starting the PC, starting the projector, connecting everything. Yeah, this one is much faster. Where I also like to carry projectors or tablets with projectors is work trips with sleepovers in hotels. This happens rarely, but when it happens, we usually watch some movie before bed. So for this, I actually used to carry my old Lenovo tablet, but the projector there is too dim, and it has Android 6 fine-tuned by Lenovo, so even some multimedia players don't work well. And since it stopped being convenient, I carried with myself these MacCubic projectors, and I have one regular and one mini. They play, and for the price it's okay, but the hardware in them is really the bottom line that still manages to somehow boot Android, let alone run some apps like FX File Explorer or VLC Media Player, and it is very prone to freezing due to just low RAM. When I got this 8849 tablet, it may have slightly lower brightness compared to HY320 Mini and lower resolution, but the system works flawlessly and swiftly, and it is much easier to carry just this. One thing is, you need to elaborate with tripods and tablet mounts, as this tablet really would use. Now, I'm gonna tell you some advice that applies to all projectors, and some specific to this one. First thing is, don't just stick to white walls. If you have a yellow or orange or any other bright colored wall or ceiling, it's okay. Just use it as your screen. The human brain is great at compensating scene for tint, so you would stop noticing it after a few minutes, and the picture would be pretty fine. Second rule is there is long and short throw projectors. The long throw projectors They provide us with very narrow beam with excellent depth of focus, so your entire picture is focused homogeneously. Problem is, they need to keep some very long distance. So at 3 meters of distance you can have just like 1 meter in diagonal picture size. These are for cinemas and for outside. Then there is short throw projectors. They can be closer to provide as big picture, but it comes with some downsides. The center of the picture is much closer than the borders. Look at this. If I am projecting from here, then this is much more distant than the center of the tablet. This is closer. This is much more distant. So you can be either focused here and unfocused there, or you can be focused here and unfocused there. So I recommend focus on something that is 1/4 into the picture, so halfway between the center and the border, somewhere here. You will have satisfactory focus across the entire picture if you focus on these areas. Third rule is, do not fine focus with low resolution projectors. Native Full HD and bigger resolutions are absolutely fine, but HD and below, then you are gonna see the pixels there. And the pixels, they disturbed. They look like Minecraft. So with HD and below, I recommend keeping it slightly out of focus. Fourth rule is to let the projector run for some minutes and focus just after that. The heating up of the projector is gonna cause some lens expansion and such, so a cold focused projector will not be in focus when hot. Now, this particular tablet is very well designed for some quick brew DIY home cinema. How so? The throw ratio is 1:1, so it's a close distance projector. Each meter from wall means 1 meter in diagonal. Even in cramped living room or cramped bedroom, you will always be able to put at least 2 meter picture. On the ceiling, that would be like 2.2 meters, depending on the height of your ceiling. What is the optimum screen size? The tablet surely has limited luminous power because of the size. It's still a tablet. And I'm gonna share with you some of my experience. You need just some dimly lit room. It doesn't have to be complete darkness. And 1.5 meter picture is gonna be alright with all the colors and brightness. In complete darkness, the 2 meters picture in diagonal is the sweet spot. If you would play some bright movie, then 2.5 meters should be okay for your usage, and 3.5 meters is the absolute maximum. If you would get some proper projector screen with high reflectivity, you can ramp these numbers up by approximately 25%. On the other hand, colored walls are gonna steal some of your photons. So for bright colored walls, take 25% away from these numbers. That's the general rule of thumb. The outer look of this tablet is surely remarkable, as it can be seen from any distance that this is not an ordinary tablet. It is actually something interesting. The rim around the display is wide enough for at least me not to perform any accidental touches with the muscle of my thumb. Selfie camera is located to the left, which would imply that it's made to be operated in portrait mode. Well, for phones, yeah, they should be operated in portrait mode, but tablets are mostly operated at landscape mode, I believe. The buttons arrangement is always different with every tablet. There is plenty of options and none of them can be perfect. This tablet has power button to the left and volume buttons at the top. So it is made to be operated with left hand, but you then can't reach the volume, or on this side in portrait mode. The 3-button group we always get is accompanied by 2 user-adjustable custom buttons. You can choose different behavior for each one. The red is by default for camping light, and the silver is by default the regular button that I use for screenshots and everything. The power button to the left is accompanied by IR blaster. That allow you to switch TV programs, air condition, radio, just anything that can be controlled with IR. The card drawer is where I like these brands like 8849 or Ulefone, as these brands that really care about their customers' well-being and their convenience. They provide you with such a slot. I'm gonna just show you. When I disconnect the memory, it's now probably disconnected. So let's see. The card drawer, it can be opened with your nail. Ow! Oh, my nail. Ah! But I'm gonna use a flathead screwdriver. It's safer. It is a 3-card slot. Look at this. And micro SD card, SIM 1, SIM 2. So you aren't limited. Just use your dual SIM 5G tablet with a 1 TB SD card, for example, or 2 TB SD card, no problems. This gear is not for time setting as it is in most watches, but it adjusts focus of the projector. The gear is nicely recessed and hidden from any unwanted forces that would keep rotating it to the point of damage. It's just perfectly reachable with your finger. Well hidden, good enough. The gear has some hysteresis. I guess it is to release some strain, to relieve from it, for example when transporting. So adjusting it back and forth is trickier, but you will mostly be able to adjust the focus at the first try and not have to return back. The projector glass lens, which is actually dirty right now. I'm gonna fix that with my t-shirt. It is metal coated for lower luminous losses. This is also done with some more expensive flashlights with expensive and efficient reflector optics. As this metal coating, anti-reflective, reduces losses in the glass from like approximately 8% to just like 4, maybe 6%. It's quite expensive to do, so only the best quality flashlights and best quality projectors would have this, as they usually, the cheap ones, they usually have some plastic lens that takes colors apart and loses 10% of light. So well, this is actually very impressive. Just next to it is the exhaust for hot air from the projector. So yes, this thing has an active cooling right here. And yes, it is waterproof. It has a fan and it is waterproof. 8849, how do you do this? Moreover, the fan is temperature controlled, so it only starts when it is needed. And it has adjustable RPM to keep a steady temperature while the noise is still lowest possible. Talking about the fan noise, it's really silent, and even at full speed you barely hear it. Must be some Noctua stuff, I don't know. The right side accommodates this cover. We are gonna just open it. Sorry for that, you are now shaking. We have here USB-C and 3.5mm jack. So, we got the jack here, and actually that is expected, as connecting external speakers to your projector is almost a must, namely for a home cinema. Moreover, such a jack can be used for some high-res audio, so go ahead, buy some studio-grade headphones and enjoy listening to some rock or metal music in 192 kHz in FLAC. Not flak like the German gun. The sound output of this tablet is somehow flat and maybe a little in grayscale, I would say, as it maybe tends to blend together some midtones. So keep in mind to not listen to any ultra instrument-rich music and you will be fine. Well, actually, I'm quite a nitpick here when it comes to sound, so of course you are gonna be far, far better than with literally anything wireless. But well, there is some tiny room for upgrades in the sound department. Let's get to the back. And if we weren't serious enough before, then we are gonna be seriously serious right now. The speaker placement is again meant to be operated in portrait mode, as they are stereo, left and right, but facing away from user, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, come on, this tablet has a projector. Its main purpose is to play films, so why not put the speakers in the sides to enjoy stereo? You can then just put it in a room, let it project on your screen and have left and right channel. Why are they both going down? It doesn't make any sense. Well, this is actually the first tablet 8849 has made, and it is the only tablet with projector. So I guess we had to cut it some slack. It's the first one and the only one right now. So okay, maybe in future models this will be fixed, but it's not a deal breaker because thanks to the 3.5mm jack you can definitely connect some external speakers and have much richer sound, of course, because, well, any tablets, they are just limited when it comes to the loudness and richness of sound. The loudness of both speakers is average, so expect some average performance. The backside is however dominated by this elephant, the 1000 lumen camping light that can be operated in 3 power modes and also hides something that I call a circus, but that's for later. The camping light is warm white. Nice to see, a pleasant light. More so in a tablet. This seems to be a flange for some future attachment, maybe. Well, this tablet could definitely use some piece to put it on a tripod, definitely. Then there is this line that's easy to make dirty and it has a somehow redundant camera flash, but it's here just for compatibility reasons with Android camera API, so okay. And the main camera, it's actually unexpectedly usable for a tablet. It's a 50 megapixel sensor with reasonable quality, and we are gonna show that later. The package is quite poor. I mean, it is oversaturated a little, but it doesn't matter because there is nothing in here. There is some tablet specs. It's really too bright. Let me put it like that. Focus. Hey Xperia, focus. Okay. Let me open it. I always battle with this. Yeah. Okay. So what we have here, few papers and a charger with a cable. This model of charger is very well known to me, as I have been using exactly same charger from Ulefone for some time, and it has survived even me using it as a power supply to field charge my batteries with PPS profile. So expect a good quality charger that can provide high power for prolonged periods of time. The cable is high quality cable rated to 50 volts and 5 amps. So yes, it has an e-marker chip inside that tells the devices they can run at these rates. And moreover, it also allows for higher transfer speeds, as it is USB 3.2 Gen 2. The MediaTek Dimensity 8200 is a fast chipset and one of the high-end chipsets of today. There will also be a cheaper version of this tablet, which will be sold with Helio G99, which has the same computational cores as Dimensity 700 or 6000 series, but only it has 4G radio, while the Dimensity series, they have 5G radio. This chipset, in this particular tablet, the more expensive variant to say, it has full 5G connectivity apart from N3 band that is commonly used in Europe, unfortunately, but it is just one of many, so, well, I guess okay-ish. I actually tried it with a SIM card and it had no problems connecting to 5G in my city, in both cities that I travel a lot. Now, I could talk all day about the performance of this chipset, but what really measures the performance is what matters, and it is benchmarks. According to the numbers, the Dimensity 8200 is just slightly weaker than the top-of-the-line Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, now it would be 8 Gen 3, which is really a great performance. The graphics unit in Dimensity 8200 is just 2 times weaker, which is also a great performance. I mean, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is overpowered. So even something with half the processing power is absolutely great. As for example, we can see that the Dimensity 8200 is 3 times better performing compared to low-end Helio G99 or Dimensity 6000 series, which are still acceptable to use. And personally, I use Helio G99 phone every day. It's my secondary phone that I carry every day in my pocket with my Xperia. It's a little slower when loading some heavy stuff, but regular stuff is absolutely fluent. So the Dimensity 8200, that is 3 times more powerful, is absolutely enough for everybody for years to come. The 8200 stores the running apps into the 16 gigabytes of physical DDR5 RAM. And no, that isn't including the virtual memory. This is the real 16 gigs of RAM on the mainboard, which is an overkill. Even my Xperia that handles ultimately heavy loads just fine, it has just 12 gigabytes. Just. So the 16 gigabytes of RAM is enough for everything with like 200% reserve. So multitasking with this tablet in split screen mode, well, absolutely no problem. Boom. No problem. Let's see. Yeah, multitasking, great. The 16 gigs of RAM is accompanied by 8.5 gigabytes swap partition in the flash memory. Swap is used to offload some junk that is just lying there in RAM almost inertly, doing almost nothing. That's what swap is for. If that 16 gigs of RAM wouldn't be enough for you, which I can't really imagine how that would be possible, 8849 allows user to chop few gigabytes of the flash memory, that's the one for pictures and for music, to serve as a virtual RAM. Virtual RAM is used for not that hasty programs and apps that are running. So the most active apps, they are in the physical RAM, and the lesser active apps, they are stored to the virtual RAM, which is this. I do not recommend to ever turn this feature on. 16 gigabytes would be enough even for Microsoft Windows and some programs running on it, let alone the lightweight Android and the small Android apps. Using flash memory as virtual memory would only wear out the memory cells in this case, and the flash memory, it would die sooner. Yeah, so actually, from my experience, my Samsung Galaxy S3 died literally on this. It had just 1 gigabyte of RAM, which is low, very low amount of RAM. So I manually set some virtual memory in custom kernel, and the flash memory died like 2 years after. But in this case, you don't need this. 16 gigabytes will be enough even after 8 years, maybe 10 years of using this tablet. So even maybe in 2035, you wouldn't need the virtual memory expansion. Talking about the flash memory, this prototype has just 256 gigabytes, but the production model should have 512 gigabytes. The internal flash memory is fast enough to keep up with the most modern high-end devices, which is great. For example, when handling some big files or doing some workload, etc. It is a tablet with projector, so it's logical you would want to fill it with some movies. 8849 has prepared for us the 3-card drawer for user convenience. The tablet supports both FAT32, which is an older file system, and exFAT, or sometimes called FAT64. So I recommend going with exFAT to support files larger than 4 gigabytes. How many movies you can then carry on such a device? Well, approximately 1.4 terabytes of movies, considering that the highest capacity Samsung micro SD cards are 1 terabyte models. From my experience of dying Kingstons and dying SanDisks, I wouldn't buy any of that junk again, and since I have sticked with Samsung SD cards, none of them has died yet. I recommend Pro Plus for demanding devices, Pro Endurance for dashcams, and Samsung Evo for general use like film storage. In this case. When it comes to USB capabilities, regarding data transfer, we are limited to just passive OTG adapters. If you would connect a powered OTG adapter, then the tablet wouldn't transfer any data. It's a shame that it doesn't support that, as if the battery is discharged and you would want to transfer some films from external hard disk, the extra power that comes here may come handy. However, if that would be used during projection, for example, the external power wouldn't matter at all, as the 10 watts would really be nothing compared to the projector drain. So I have tried connecting OTG adapter and loading the tablet. The tablet provides accurately 5.0 volts, and if you would attempt to draw more than 2.0 amps, the output would shut down. So it is enough. It's 10 watts of output. It's enough for 2.5-inch hard disks. It is enough for emergency charge your phone. It's enough for, of course, flash drives, keyboards, mouse and everything. But still, it has a very strict overcurrent protection, which is actually good, it's safe. When you finally manage to discharge the colossal battery which is inside, and trust me, it ain't easy to discharge a 21 amp hour battery, and now you have to charge it. What I like about this particular tablet is that it's very versatile between the fast charging protocols. Most devices today support usually just two modes. First mode is high power. That is when you have a PD charger like this one, and it would support appropriate PPS protocol. And second mode is compatibility low power mode that just runs at basic 5 volts and 2 amps. This 8849 tablet is however more versatile. It is definitely preferring the PD PPS profile of approximately, in this case, 17 plus volts at 3 amps. So if your charger supports like 20 volt 3 amp PPS profile, this tablet is gonna use it to charge at full speed. PPS stands for Programmable Power Supply. The tablet connects the internal battery directly onto the V-bus and GND of the USB port, and then communicates with the charger to provide steady current until voltage reaches the set threshold and battery is fully charged. So now the charger in PPS profile is actually acting as a laboratory power supply that has the inside battery connected directly. A good thing is that the tablet has probably 3 or 4 cell battery, so that means higher voltage because they are in series, but smaller current. The tablet charges at approx 60 watts at full speed by current flow of just 3 amps, which means you can use just any cable you have. You don't need any more expensive high-end eMicro cables. All you need is just a regular, everyday, standard quality cable, and it would still charge at full speed. Shall the PPS profile desired not be supported in your charger, the tablet resorts to some older protocols. It can, for example, trigger MediaTek Pump Express to get 9 volts and 1.2 amps. Or it can use Samsung FCP to get 12 volts and 1.3 amps. Or, if any of them are unavailable, it sticks to the baseline, which is BC 1.0 DCP protocol, so it's our classic 5 volts, 2 amps. All the mentioned slower charging profiles, however, require the tablet to use integrated DC to DC converter to boost the voltage to charge the battery. So there is some power loss, and the tablet may actually heat up a little, even though it's running at much slower charging speed. Well, this is the huge advantage of PPS, because PPS doesn't use the internal DC-DC converter. It's just directly connected. So I must say that it is refreshing to see a device that can charge at 60 watts using just ordinary 3 amp cables. And if desired profile is unavailable in the charger, it can stick to some reserve profiles. Definitely unseen today, and I like it. So we have now fully charged the battery with the charger. And how long until it runs out? Quite long. But how exactly? Many folks have been asking questions such as, how long does the battery last under normal conditions? Well, define normal conditions. Is the tablet just lying on a table and then just play one episode of Stargate in the evening and that's all? Or does the tablet have SIM card inside, is connected all day to 5G and in the evening projects 2 episodes of MASH? Or is the tablet switching between Wi-Fi and data all day and it's being used for web and for presentations, which it projects with the projector, and then in the evening is used to project director's cut of Lord of the Rings? Well, these are 3 different conditions, and this is why I measure battery life under different specified conditions. Because there is nothing like normal conditions. Shall you watch YouTube videos in full HD resolution, often in H.264 or VP9 codec, the tablet lasts day and a half on minimum display brightness, or 12 to 15 hours on maximum brightness. There was insignificant difference between 5G and Wi-Fi, and between 30 and 60 FPS, so these runtimes apply for all of them. If you would have reasonable signal strength of 5G network and provide hotspot and perform just light data loads like messaging and such, the tablet eats 0.5% an hour. So it would run approximately for 1 week. What a great portable router, I must say. The video recording is done unfortunately only in 30 FPS, but at least you can record in 4K. So 4K videos, it's 11 hours, or for full HD, it's 17 hours. If you would record in high efficiency HEVC or H265, then both runtimes are 11.5 hours. So the encoder there is less efficient with H265, seems like. Now, playback of offline stored video would be 2 days at minimum brightness and 14 hours at maximum brightness. Shall you playback a 60 FPS video, the runtimes decrease to 40 hours and 14.5 hours respectively. And finally, the projector. On the maximum brightness, when it can produce approximately 3 meters diagonal picture, the battery lasts 8.5 hours. So that is 3 shorter films or 2 longer films. On medium brightness, that is for approximately 2 meters, that would give us 17.5 hours, so enough for the Lord of the Rings Director's Cut trilogy, plus all the Stargate films that came up, plus Periscope Down movie. So the battery life when projecting a picture is really great. Now, let's communicate with the outer world. The tablet has stereo microphones and it uses them even as stereo. Here is right channel, here is left channel. So all the videos that you record with this tablet or the audio which you record with this tablet are in stereo. The tablet also has 3.5mm jack to not only connect some 2.0 or 2.1 speakers of your home cinema, but also you can connect here your, for example, wired high-quality headphones like these Audio-Technica MTH M50X, which I have 2 of them, and connecting these studio monitor headphones to the tablet, you can enjoy all the high-res music in 192 kHz FLAC. So here comes all the rock and all the metal and all the instrumental music. From me comparing the sound output from my dedicated PC sound card and from my Xperia with 384 kHz DAC, the 8849 sounds a little flat and seems to blend some tones. Apart from that, the quality is perfectly acceptable and of course much better than anything wireless. The wireless headphones, however, also can be used as they connect via Bluetooth. Now, let's see all the available Bluetooth profiles. It's, I believe, in this app, Connectivity, Bluetooth, yeah. So you can see all the supported profiles. GPS, I'm not gonna show it here because you would see where I am and I am not, I wouldn't be glad. GPS, that is where this tablet excels. The Dimensity 8200 chipset is probably the only chipset that supports also L5 bands of GPS, encouraging the device to gather your position from even more satellites than most of the phones on the market or tablets on the market, and even to tablets with projectors on the market, because it's the only one. Wi-Fi, there is another strong side, as the chipset supports Wi-Fi 6, and I'm not gonna act like how important that is, as we are still running on Wi-Fi N, I believe, in here. But yeah, it's the new stuff with high transfer speed, although you will be more limited by the Android kernel rather than the Wi-Fi connection speed. But hey, it's there. 6 GHz supported. So, okay. The last connectivity thing is FM radio. It unfortunately requires connected headphones to run, and there is actually some phones that also require headphones to run the FM radio, but they have no audio jack. And it doesn't work when you connect the phones into the USB port. So that is quite funny. But this one, it has audio jack and it works with it. But I cannot play any music in here in the video because YouTube would tell me that it's bad. It supports RDS, so you can see the name of the station there and you can see the name of the music, and it can even record a broadcast. Although it's using a file format called .3GA or third group audio, which is absolutely unused. But the codec is classic AAC and even in stereo, so that's okay. So if you find a media player that would support 3GA, very strange container, then it would be played back, no problem. Now let's have a quick look through the camera app. It's here. We have photo here, that's the default. We can now use the camera flash, and I'm gonna try to turn it on. The camera flash is there just for compatibility reasons. But we can as well turn on the camping light. Come on. Yeah, this clicking, it's quite unresponsive. The buttons are too small. Yeah, it's derived from phones, I believe, this whole app, but phones, they have smaller screens, so it's bigger, but this one has bigger screens, so it's smaller and can't really. You can as well use this camping light during photography, which is great, really great, but it's at medium mode, I believe. Let's compare. Now I can't see anything, so it's running at the half power, which is, well, it's a tablet. It has huge aluminum frame. Why isn't it using the high mode? Yeah, so this is the photo mode. There is some settings. We can record in RAW. Well, it's a tablet, it doesn't have to record in RAW, but oh, whatever, okay. We have then the countdown up to 10 seconds. ZSD, what's that? I don't know. There is no explanation, okay. Picture ratio, well, they say it's recommended, which is good because the chip itself, the camera chip, has this ratio. Yeah, this is chopped. So if you would set it to 16:9, then it would chop off the top and the bottom. And you don't want that. Why would you do that? Yeah, so you can do that after you take the photo in your PC or something. Capture sound, that is great that you can turn it off. It's sometimes, well, I don't like the sound of most phones. Watermark, let's try it, but no, I don't like these watermarks. 8849 tank pad. No, here it is. There is anti-shake. I believe the anti-shake would chop some parts of the picture, and maybe even yeah, it could as well increase more ISO than the shutter speed or the shutter exposure time, yeah, to be exact. Most probably. There is grid lines, and there is standard grid, then golden ratio, which is narrower, like this one, and there is also, I call it snail, not snake. Well, snake can also do this, but I call it snail. Yeah, there is right snail and also left snail. But if you don't know how to use these, just use the default grid and it is okay. Straighten, that's, I believe, for the fisheye correction. That's when, well, some cameras do have this problem. For example, you know that when you shoot some pictures, if your phone has more cameras, and one of them is the wide angle camera, then it looks like fisheye. It's not straight, it's like that, the picture, yeah. So if you have a regular camera with like 24 millimeter equal, then it may have the sides somehow a little distorted. You can here straighten the picture, do this, but then you would chop off some parts of the picture. So I wouldn't do that because you don't even notice the fisheye effect. Or I believe it's for this one. Then there is blinking, 50, 60 Hertz, and that's depending where you live. Don't turn this on, just leave it on the maximum. GPS location, that's for the EXIF data, and key mode, well, unfortunately, the volume up and down can be only used to switch modes. You cannot operate zoom with that, which is bad. I like to operate my zoom with my volume controls. Then there is video mode, and Here we have lost the ability to use the camping light. You should be able to use the camping light while recording the video. It's really great to have feature. I know that. So please, 8849, enable the tablet to use the camping light even when recording video. Just enable the light to be used at full power. It's a tablet. There is a huge surface area. There is this aluminum rim. Come on. Just make it go at full blast. That would be the best. It's a tablet. It has a huge battery. It cools itself off pretty easily. So why not? Now, settings, scenic mode, electronic image stabilization. It would chop off some parts of the picture and then stabilize the picture as you are like shaking. Yeah. Then there is microphone, that's for sound. The sound, it records as stereo, and the sound quality is actually, well, you could hear it in this video, okay. Video quality, well, it records, let's first go to the codec. So we have most compatible codec, which is AVC or H.264, or a higher efficiency codec HEVC H.265. The tablet actually uses the same bit rates for both. Well, most compatible. For H.264, it uses high profile, which out of every codec on the planet is most compatible, H.264, but out of all the profiles of H.264, the high profile is least compatible. So, well, only use this codec if you have a device that doesn't support HEVC and fully supports H.264. But if the device is like 15 years old, maybe 20 years old, then it is possible that it wouldn't even be able to play back the H.264 video from here, as it is using high profile. There is baseline, main, and high. The baseline is really for the simplest devices. It's very primitive compression. Then there is main, something in between, and then there is high profile. So, well, the compatibility format is a little less compatible, but well, anyway, just use the HEVC. Literally anything that is 10 years or newer can play this with hardware acceleration. Yeah, literally any device. So just use the high efficiency because it uses the same bitrate as the most compatible, so you get better quality. Now, regarding the resolutions, if you use the selfie camera, you then lose the 4K and gain SIF resolution. And if you use the back camera, you lose the SIF because why would you use such a small resolution? And you gain the 4K, which is nice. The SIF resolution, well, 1 megabit per second. That's just bad quality, like from an old Nokia. Then there is VGA. 640 by 480. That is just your VGA resolution for some you can record in this when you want to send a video through email, for example. Then there is HD resolution at 9 megabits per second. That is very low bit rate. You would then have some serious compression in the picture. If you would record in full HD, that is 20 megabits per second, which is average. You would then see the huge sort of pixelating, but it's like squares around the moving objects. So the more things move in your picture, the worse the quality gets. This can be solved by switching to 4K, which has 50 megabits per second, which is much better, actually, because HEVC works better with higher resolutions compared to lower resolutions. So if you would record in 4K, the video would be pretty much very much fine, and you wouldn't see much of the problems with the compression. So then there is Pro mode, where you can set some things. I recommend the baseline ISO of 100, because then you get the native sensitivity of the chip, so the colors are as rich as possible. You can set the EV compensation for automatic shutter speed, or you can set the manual shutter speed. The lowest point is 0.6, is the longest shutter speed, which is quite fast. Most phones can go down to 30 seconds with shutter speed. 8000, well, okay. Let's put it on automatic. And there is focus, and the focus doesn't do anything. which is bad, but I suppose it's just there because this is a prototype, and all the things may not be functional in this version, but the final version may be fully functional, I suppose. You can as well use the camera, the Pro camera with the camping light. Let's switch to super resolution. Now it takes photo at full resolution of the chip, which is 50 megapixel. Then there is more, and there is time-lapse, there is grayscale, and there is QR code reader. You can actually edit this menu, so you can put some things that you used most in this menu, and then some in the more menu. Now this is the selfie camera. There is huge ISO in here because it's dark behind me. The ISO is really high. Okay, that's enough for the... Oh, if you would be holding it like that, then good luck. They should have placed the camera in here, I believe. It would be much better. Now, let's see the photos and videos from this tablet. I recommend setting a higher playback quality if you are watching on YouTube. This video is also available on Odyssey, but that's just in Full HD because Odyssey doesn't really like huge videos. So if you are watching on YouTube, then right here there is a gear icon, and use the gear icon to ramp up the quality up to the maximum that your device allows. So this is the end of the camera test. I am reminding you, please return the quality settings right here back to what you had before to conserve your data or to save your battery. Now let's jump in the extra stuff, because there is some. The 8849 has edited the Android firmware to include this bottom bar. It's like Windows 11. I'm not gonna act like if I have ever used it, because not, but someone would actually. There is some quick access apps and apps menu just in here. Yeah, it may be an attempt to make it better suitable for multitasking, as there is the 16 gig RAM that would also suggest the multitasking. So if you would buy this tablet, then I recommend using it for multitasking as often as possible, so you can fully, you wouldn't be able to fill up the RAM completely. In these settings, there is actually many more sections. These that are translated into Czech, they are system menu, and these that aren't, they are actually added by 8849. So this is my device section, where we can have a quick overlook over the tablet. There is some basic spec, so if someone asks you about anything, you can just show him this, which has most things people need to know. Then there is projector settings, then there is intelligent assistance. Here are some extra features. The smart small window, I haven't figured what it is. I don't know what it is. Then there is memory extension. That's the virtual RAM we talked about. You don't need that, and you wouldn't ever need this with this particular tablet that has 16 gigs of RAM. Then there is call recorder. Well, if it is legal in your country, you can use it to get some evidence on someone. Here we get shortcut settings, and we can set the behavior of the both auxiliary programmable buttons. So there is funds key, programmable key, Yeah. Short press, long press, double press. Yeah, for both keys. But one problem is you don't know which is which. Yeah. This picture it's like black and white, and you don't see the colors in here. And actually this picture comes from Tank Phone. So I believe this firmware is just edited from Tank Phone, and this is not a phone, this is a tablet. Well, it's a prototype, so yeah, it's a proof of concept, but well, you don't know which is which, so you have to like try it. And yeah, so this one is for camping lamp, so it is the red one, and this one is the shortcut settings. Yeah, so this one is the silver one. Then there is the infrared blaster in here, and this oversized control uses third-party app called Zaza Remote. I remember this app, Zaza Remote, from my old HTC One M9. It's either paid app or it has ads, and that is because the company behind this, it keeps the database of models of TVs, of radios, of air conditions, etc. So if you know the exact type of your appliance, you can get the exact remote for that device. And if you don't know the type, the app walks you through some testing and asks you, you then just press a button and it asks you what it has done. And based on that, you just chew through this, and you can sort out which command scheme should it use. So this way I have actually set it to control our Samsung TV, but as I don't watch TV on even for films, as it has bad colors, I haven't used the IR blaster since I have set it. But someone may. Then there is an app called Toolbox. We got all the useful stuff at one place, so no need to download any Toolbox apps from Google Play. The torch here, it's quite funny, as it uses the small and tiny camera flash. Look at this, it's so cute. Well, now there is all the standard stuff, well, apart from the pedometer. I mean, who would be able to put this tablet in his pocket? I mean, look at this. Do you have this deep pocket? Or this wide pocket? I don't think so. But if you would find trousers with such big pockets, please tell me the model of those trousers, because I need them desperately. Yeah. Then we have barometer, and the barometer is probably very accurate, as the sensor is Gobble MEMS GMP102, which I have checked against my Sony Xperia, well, this one, it's your eyes, that has Bosch BMP5 chip, and they, I mean the Xperia, which is you, and this one, they agreed spot on, so you can trust these readings pretty well. Then there is underwater camera here. That's when you control the app with volume buttons and exit with power button, because the capacitive touchscreens, they don't work underwater. Now there is camping lamp, which is actually this bigger brother to the little brother LED flash. There is two problems with this particular function. That is, okay. Okay. There is low brightness. So now, okay. So now I'm going to turn on, okay. You see it just every time. Okay. Okay, I agree. There is one more problem, full bright. Now it is full bright. Yeah, the 1000 lumens of warm white. But guess what? Half bright, okay. Slightly bright. Full bright. Trun, trun, trun. I cannot turn it on repeatedly in 10 minutes. Why? Why is it so? Why? Well, I suppose that's a limitation that comes from the old phones, because phone is smaller and it has a lower heat dissipation area, but here we have the huge frame. Why not be able to keep it turned on at high and then turn off and then turn on again? Why? This area can easily dissipate all the heat. And moreover, it has a fan. It can always turn on the fan if needed. And moreover, it could actually sense the temperature of the tablet. I mean, the battery has a temperature sensor. The chipset also has a temperature sensor. Why not use one of them to see what the temperature is? And if the tablet would actually become hot from the flashlight, from the camping light, then the tablet can turn on the fan. And if it would get to like 60 degrees Celsius, then it would, for example, decrease the brightness to half, and at 65 it would like turn off the camping light. So why not do it like this? It's a huge tablet with a huge battery, chunky tablet, huge aluminum area. Why not enable it to shine at very brightness continually? And once again, I don't like this limitation. But the camera, but the camping light is really bright. There is SOS mode and there is explosion flash for like self-defense or something, I suppose. Then we got drainage to clear the speakers of water, but all it does is turn on the vibration motor. So I don't know. Well, this is probably some function for future, I believe, because this is still a prototype. Then we have this fan controls. You can manually control the fan mode. So this tablet may even be used as a propeller when diving underwater. Well, I am kidding, of course. But it can be used to blow into fire to let it burn more. Well, I wouldn't do that. But it is technically possible. But why is there? Maybe for when you plan to play some games, some really heavy games, and the tablet would get to like 35 degrees maximum, you can then turn on the fan manually. And actually, we can hear the fan loudness. I'm gonna take my lapel microphone, Boya, connected to my Sony Xperia, and now let's turn it on in the 5th highest mode. This is the highest. So the fan is very silent. The last thing here is warning simulator. Well, while the red blinking may be good in distress, the blue blinking is a circus. I'm not into this police siren blinking and sound. Well, it also has sounds, but I'm not gonna turn it on. No, I don't like this. It is illegal. But well, if you would have a tire defect, for example, at night, definitely use the red blinking. But you shall never use the blue, as it is illegal in most countries. And I don't even think the blue should be here. And actually what I think, the 8849 could actually enable the red mode to be used further for like red lighting, for example, at night. It may be actually convenient. So that's an idea for a new function. Then the last 8849 up is the sound recorder. It records in stereo and actually good quality. So that's nice for a change. Now about hardware acceleration. What it is was explained in my older videos. So just shortly, if a device is able to hardware accelerate some video playback, then it means the CPU would be just chilling, doing nothing, and the decode of the video file would be offloaded to a bunch of transistors that are by the side of the GPU unit. Shall the video file be in codec that it's not supported by the transistors, the video would then be decoded using raw processing power of the CPU, and not only will it consume much energy, but it would also sometimes produce some unwatchable output, mainly GIF-like films. And here, in this case, it is very simple. The tablet supports all the codecs that I test. So, the ultimately obsolete MPEG-2 or less obsolete MPEG-4, usually in MOV files, you can find them, they can be played using hardware acceleration, no problems, up to Full HD, which is the maximum resolution that I test. A slightly older H.264 or slightly newer H.265, and their similarly efficient free counterparts, which is VP9 and AV1, they can be played even up to 4K resolution at 60 FPS progressively and with 10-bit color depth. What more do you want? The old VP8 that you would only meet in some old web pages, maybe, this one is supported only up to Full HD. So almost any video file that you throw in this device, or just any video on the internet, including streaming platforms, would be decoded by hardware. So there wouldn't be any flaws, any lagging videos, and the processor wouldn't produce any heat. And battery would last, of course. How to end this? I must express that in the age of everyone copying each other and every brand trying to be as boring as possible, there is still few companies that want to stand out and provide users with some experience that they have nowhere else to get. I mean, we used to have interesting phones and interesting tablets. Then Apple came and all the copycats wanted to be like it. Today, in 2025, there is over a dozen of brands that just want to be one like each other, all the same. And none of them stand out in any way. Oppo, OnePlus, Nothing, Xiaomi, Poco, Realme, Honor, Motorola, Asus, Nubia, they all look the same. They are all equally incapable. Almost none of them have 3.5mm jack or SD slot, or IHAL blaster, or powerful torch, or front-facing stereo speakers, or motorized cameras. Every single phone provides exactly the same functionality, and manufacturers just race in the field that they remove functions from Android and want to be the most inconvenient of all of them. The more desperately they try to be average, the more desperately they try to be like iPhone, the worse the situation gets. In Xiaomi phones, for example, you can't even delete app cache. We are living dark times when corporates want all people to be the same, to be sheep in a herd, to be average, to go with artificial trends, to support the current thing, to just consume. And namely, in these upcoming dark times, I am really glad that there is still some manufacturers who actually bring the light. They think different and they try to be as convenient, as useful as possible. Companies like Sony, like Ulefone, and also 8849/Unihertz, who brighten up the black and white market of redundant phones with no idea behind them. This tablet, it has some problems. The buttons are sometimes unresponsive, the camping light cannot be used twice in high mode and also cannot be used during video recording. The stereo speakers are, in my opinion, badly placed, but it's still a prototype. And is the first tablet from Unihertz/8849. So who knows what would be a second generation? Maybe a HD projector with 150 lumens? I don't know. But besides these problems, this tablet is really capable. It has really high-end hardware, 16 gigs of RAM, that is multitasking just overkill, even for multitasking, even for 2 apps running at once. The camera is great, the camera quality is good, it has active cooling, it has powerful torch, IR blaster, it's waterproof, it has huge battery, and the charging, oh man, it takes just any charger. So that's it. I thank the 8849 company, which is the daughter company of Unihertz, for this cooperation. And if you have watched until now, enjoy this bonus. Teď se ladějí rozvody na první zub.
Účelem technických ošetření číslo 1 a číslo 2 je udržet techniku ve správném technickém stavu, předcházet vzniku závad, poruch a předčasnému a nadměrnému opotřebení skupin.
So that's it for this video. Goodbye and see you in another video.